Hey folks, there's a certain type of map that's circulating around the internet that slices up a country based on which other country is closest to that area. And I love this type of map idea. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are trying to make these maps right now that are a little stumped on how to do it. So here's my way of making these types of maps. Okay, so step 0 before you do anything is you have to download QGIS and you have to download the Natural Earth admin 0 countries shapefiles. And the ones that I'll be using are the 1 to 50 million scale. So just go on naturalearthdata.com and download the files. Once you've opened QGIS and downloaded the files, you're ready for step 1. In step 1, we're gonna create a custom projection so that we can do our spatial analysis. And we'll be using an orthographic projection. If you're trying to do a smaller country, you could use an azimuthal equidistant projection as well. So to make a custom projection, click on the Settings tab, click Custom Projections, click the plus sign, and what we're going to do is select North Pole Orthographic as our template, click OK, and we want to put in our own custom coordinates to make it a custom system. So what you can do is you find your country. In this case, we'll be working with Russia as our example, and just use Google Maps to find any point roughly in the middle of the country and get the coordinates. Then you can copy and paste those coordinates directly into the parameters. Give your new projection a name and save your custom projection. You should be able to find your new projection by clicking on that bottom right projection button and typing in the name. Once you've found it, you can go ahead and enter that projection. Now that we have a custom projection, we're ready for step 2. In step 2, we use the Extract Vertices tool to extract all the vertices from these country polygons. To simplify the calculation, since the tool is going to give us tens or hundreds of thousands of points, we're going to select several countries and run the tool only on those countries. Make sure when you're doing the analysis to not select the country that you're actually doing the analysis on. So in this case, since we're making a map of Russia, we're going to not select Russia. This is very important for the next few steps. Once you've selected your countries, go over to the toolbox and click on the Extract Vertices tool. Make sure you click Selected Features Only and click Run. Now we have all our vertices for the next step. So we have our points and now we're ready for step 3. In step 3, we're going to make Voronoi polygons from all of these points. The first thing we're going to do, just like in the previous step, is we're going to make a selection of only the points that are not extremely far away from our country. This is really important if you're using an orthographic projection, because oftentimes you'll have points that are on the other side of the map, so to speak, and so if you try to reproject them, there's going to be an error. So we select our points, and once we have a selection, we then save the layer as a shapefile, except we have to specify the coordinate system as our custom orthographic projection. Also make sure that we're only saving the selected features to avoid any kind of mathematical problems. So now that we've successfully exported our points, we can remove the old layer. And because the points are in our new custom projection, we can run the Voronoi polygons on them successfully. So click Run, and depending on how many points you have, it might take a few minutes for the algorithm to finish. Once it's done, we should have a bunch of Voronoi polygons. Okay, we got our Voronoi polygons. Now we're ready for step 4. In step 4, we're going to clip these Voronois to the extent of our country of interest, which in this case is Russia. So what we're going to do is bring our country layer to the front and run a feature filter, whichever criteria work. You can usually filter by SOV A3. You run a feature filter so that the only country left is your country of interest. And now that Russia has been filtered in, we use the clip tool and we take only those Voronoi polygons which sit on top of our countries layer. You click run, and this could take a couple minutes depending on how many polygons you have. But once it's done, you should have this really nice cookie cutter shape of your country with the Voronoi polygons. And finally, the last step, step 5. We're going to dissolve these polygons based on the country attribute, and then we're going to add some decorations. So like I said, we're going to go into the dissolve tool, take our clipped layer, and select, in this case, SOV A3, which is the country information, as our dissolve field. Click run, it should run super fast, and boom, you've got your almost your end result. So now you can go into symbology, you can give each zone a different color based on the country, and you can even add labels. And there it is. Basically a finished product. You can export this into Adobe Illustrator and do other stuff to it, but at the bare minimum, this is how you make this type of map. So if this video was helpful to you and you followed the steps, share your maps with me. I'll be very happy to see all of your final products. Yeah, and follow me on Twitter. Bye.